turn off all our webcams and we just leave it open for the speaker, that is Francesco Reda for the moment.
Yep. So I hope you can see me and hear me.
Yes, perfectly.
Super. And you have a visual also on the screen, I hope.
Yes, that too, that too.
All right. So time is running and I don't want to actually take time from the presenters, but briefly. So Annex 83, I'm here actually to prepare the ground for the workshop here. So a bit giving you a bit of food for thoughts in a way. Let me commence saying a few words on the Annex. So Annex 83 is, I like to call it like a collaboration initiative there, that put together many minds from different organizations and countries. We are more than 80 working there. And it's divided in 4 subtasks. More information you will find on the link there. So if you open the link that I'm going to give it, it's going to be available through the presentation. You will have information about the annex, what are our results so far, paper published or publication, participants, and so forth. We have 4 subtasks. Subtask A is about the definition and context. Subtask B is methods, tools, and technologies for realizing PET. Then subtask C, organizing principle and impact assessment, and subtask D, demos, implementation, and dissemination. And these were shipped together, although it has been labeled from the annex, but it's mainly coming from subtask C then. And I wanted just to highlight the guys, that the team there is doing a great job, and as you can see also from the numbers of the audience of today, so the topic that the team is addressing there is quite relevant, so and it actually reaches quite much of consensus. But without further ado, what is a positive energy district? There is a kind of a general understanding that a positive energy district is a part of the city or a district. Then the size might be questionable. So there are different definitions of size, and so it can be different building blocks or like more than one buildings together. Let's leave it aside for a moment. It's a part of the city that is able to generate more energy than it consumes. So then this energy is going to be pushed through different energy networks. And I'm not just talking about electricity, I'm talking about energy networks there, to the other parts of the city that are not able to produce all the energy that they need somehow. So we have our patient, that is the city, that is very hungry of energy, and to produce this energy using conventional technologies, then we are going to create some pollution. So then most cities are also responsible for climate change in a way, since they are responsible for quite much of carbon dioxide. I don't want to go into the numbers. I'm quite confident that you know all these numbers there. And so since we have this patient, positive energy district might be actually a solution that finally will allow city to achieve the climate target that is asked and to solve the problem. We can have different beds depending on technologies and also on other aspects, and that's where I'm going to focus in a moment. But we can have different beds depending on the characteristic of the solution as such, meaning we can have an autonomous bed when you have solutions that are able to generate more energy than all the energy within the boundaries, physical boundaries of the district there. So don't need interaction with the grid because they are able to get energy. So they don't need to play with the grid, let's put it this way, because they are able to produce all the energy at each time that they need, and they are going to push the extra. Then we can have dynamic, and in a certain moment of time, we have energy then produced within the boundaries that is not enough to cover the demand of that district, so we need to get it from the grid. But there are other moments of time that there is actually a surplus, so we have this kind of building up this cash that we can then take it back from the grid when it's needed, and still having a positive energy balance. And then we have this head that can have production assets outside the boundaries of the district then, and then can make use of different other solutions. So this is basically in a nutshell what's going on around the PET. But is it all about energy? I'm talking about energy balance, energy solutions, and so forth, but something that we tend to forget, and of course it's a provocation, because I know that you guys know very much that there are many other aspects that are actually part of the game. Since we're talking about an urban animal, a new urban animal, we can't just look at it from the energy perspective, but there are also other aspects that somehow are also connected to the energy solution. And in the end, we need to bear in mind that there are certain living standard conditions that we want to increase. Health is also connected to that. Of course, if we use renewable, then we decrease the pollutions and the emissions, and then perhaps health is going to be a bit better in those districts. Social acceptance of technologies, business model, economic viability, and so on. But then comes the question, how we can really understand and measure, in the end, we are talking about methodology and the KPIs, the impact of a technical solution on these other non-technical aspects that in the end are quite relevant for the successful of the implementation of the solutions. This is another very important aspect that experts are working around the clock on the matter. There are many projects on positive energy district that within the project they are also addressing these aspects, or the measuring aspect related to the solution that are implemented. There are collaborative initiatives like the evaluation and monitoring task force that is also addressing it, or the PED annex, the cost action. So it's basically an off topic, because we clearly see that, okay, we might have a solution technically, or it might be already there, and it's already there, but there are all these aspects that somehow are around the solution that have to take into account, really, then to finally understand how we can then compare the different solutions in different beds and then choose the ideal one for a specific urban context. How we are going to assess the multidisciplinary aspects, so well, the impact on the health, then the bankability, or the financing aspect, or the social acceptance, and so forth. And then how we're going to also assess the impact on different sectors. Those are very good $1 million questions, I would say, but those are the questions and aspects that we would need to solve. And I'm quite happy to see that we have quite of a critical mass today that we can use to go a bit more into the detail on the method and so forth on the assessment, and to start then shedding light on positive energy district, but specifically on how to measure the impact of those. Before closing my presentation, reminding you a bit of good practices also. Please mute your mic unless you're talking. Place your question in the chats. We won't have much room for question for each presentation, but if you place it in the chat, if we have room for answering those, we'll certainly do so, or they will be taken offline and the speaker is going to answer you also in the chat or directly to you. Keep the time for the presentation and turn on your camera when you are talking. It's good, that is always good to remind them. Last but not least, please bear in mind that this meeting is actually recorded. Okay, so that will be it from my side, and I would like to leave you put it back to you, the floor with a quote from Galileo, since here we understand that we have this multidisciplinary aspect and different, perhaps measured or measurable or non-measurable things that we need to somehow take into account. So Galileo said that measure what is measurable, and perhaps we are a bit in between and make measurable what is not. I guess that this is also kind of described quite well the situation where we are at the moment. But thank you very much, Francesco, and all, and I wish you a very fruitful and successful workshop.
Great, Francesco, thanks. I mean, the pressure from Galileo is really something, but I like the quote, so that's good. Now, let me start with the first presentation, more structured presentation. I'll share my screen again. Side workshop, there it is. Okay. Perfect. So the first presentation is going to delve a little bit. I mean, I'm building up on what Francesco just said at the end of his introduction. And this presentation is going to be focused on the outcomes of the subtask 3 I am leading together with Adriano Bisello and Andreas Turk from Annex 83. The title of the subtask is Organizing Principles and Impact Assessment, and as you can imagine, the main focus of our subtask is sustainability assessment and impact assessment on a wide range of topics. The presentation I'm going to show you in the next 10 minutes is based on the results and outcomes of the first year of activities, that is based on the state of the art analysis, and builds up on a report that we are expecting to have freely available in early 2022. And the next slides, as I said, are going to show you the main results of this activity and what we think are the critical issues within the topic of sustainability of pets and the way forward, let's say. Now, on to the environmental section. On the environmental assessment of pets, as you can see from a mere methodological approach, the main focus is on LCA. From the state of the art, what we see is that the life cycle assessment is the core methodology that is used when addressing the issue of environmental perspective on pets. We have more of also some other activities, including an integrated modeling between new stage and life cycle stage, optimization, multi-criteria analysis, as well as other tools. But the lion's share of the whole methodological approaches is currently LCA. As far as geographics are concerned, there's a whole lead throughout Europe within sustainability studies, but there's several studies also available and projects running throughout Asia, North America, as well as the other continents. If indicators instead are concerned, you can see that the most used areas of interest, whereas performance assessment KPIs are involved, are climate change, renewable energy production, final and also primary energy use, energy autonomy, transport-related emissions, municipal waste, health, and waterland and soil exploitation. And as a consequence of what I just said before, an LCA practitioners could recognize most of those. Now, also even more practical than what I said before, those are the main indicators that you can trace throughout reports, throughout papers, and throughout research on the topic. That is every kind of shape and form of CO2 equivalent, and several other emission-based indicators, including PMX, methane, CFC, and so on. On energy-based indicators, again, here we have kilowatt-hour, DOEs, power indicator, and so on, again. And the resource-based indicators are based, again, on tons. This goes onto the macro areas I mentioned before. We have water source, recycled waste, tons of material for waste, cubic meters of waste materials, and the list goes on again. Onto some numbers, because I wanted to share also some numbers and see where we stand with it. Since the LCA, as I showed you before, is the most used methodology in this topic, you can see that among numbers, if you go and see CO2 equivalent that we took for as an example, numbers are very different. Okay, there's a very wide range of potential results, which narrows down, of course, if we go to here onto specific indication, but still, there's a very wide variability among results, quantitative results, which is due to a high variability in assumptions, in metrics, in frameworks. So there's some need for having homogeneous assumptions when performing these kind of studies. The same thing can actually be traced for, that was CO2 equivalent, this is primary energy, but the trend is exactly the same. Now, some consideration on the social aspects. For example, of course, the main attention here is given to the impact of quality of life for the, usually, okay, for the most vulnerable populations. And what there is that there's some applications, several applications for smart grids, but there's not really a specific focus for pets. This translates into these themes you see here: there is social infrastructure, health and safety, comfort and livability, amenities with job creation, development skills, nearness, social and cultural life, as well as citizen participation versus citizen empowerment. Again, on to the impacts and the KPIs. What we traced is also that most of the times social indicators are a bit underrepresented between the whole other sustainability perspective, with only 10% of the whole pet performance indicators usually. And that there's I need to create homogeneous frameworks for all these indicators that I mentioned throughout different initiatives. On to the economic perspective instead, a few more words also here before going to the way forward and conclusions. Usually research focuses here on economics and application of either on the single building level, that is net zero high efficient buildings plus energy buildings, as well as the rise of the energy communities topics and pets, even more so. Also here, as I somehow mentioned before, for the environmental impacts, we tend to work in silos, okay? Meaning that there's limited integration within ecological and societal impacts. So we have this specific domain, economic, social, and environment, which go on parallel lines and tend rarely to cross between themselves. Oops. Then also onto the more investigated areas, we tend to have energy flexibility analysis, as well as local load management, as well as energy efficiency measures and technological planning alternatives. The more used, the more frequent methodologies within the economic perspective we traced are based on the EU cost optimal methodology. We perspectives, as well as cost effectiveness approaches. MCDA, again, multi-criteria decision analysis, which I mentioned already briefly before, as well as macroeconomic analysis and energy system assessment oriented also to simulation and integration between simulation and energy simulation and economics. I won't mention these KPIs, which are very well known. We all know what we're talking about, but the thing is again that different KPI, there's a need for overlaps and more integrated KPIs involving the market perspective as well. Now onto I've given you a very broad idea of what our take is on the topic of sustainability, and now I'm going to go very briefly also again to stay within the 10 minutes onto the way forward, what we think should be the way forward on the topic. I mentioned that we tend to work in silos between the different sustainability perspectives. The thing is, we feel that there's not really a very consolidated, integrated sustainability assessment methodology. This calls for, according to me, according to us, an integrated KPI, really the creation of integrated KPIs for pet sustainability assessment, and trying to see what happens when we go one way towards, for example, environmental perspective. We should understand what happens immediately right after to the social aspects and the economic aspects, for example. This, of course, calls for complexity, because if you want, for sure, to avoid shifting burdens from one side to the other, we need to go in depth and we need to perform dedicated studies. So we need to find a balance between complexity of the analysis, which we need to have, and as well as effectiveness of it. We felt also that there is a limited focus on stakeholder mapping, and we need comparability and standardization within sustainability assessment, especially environmental. And we felt also that there's a need to incorporate somehow the embodied energy, carbon, environmental impacts throughout PD assessment calculations, since those are becoming quickly the most relevant part of building impacts. On to the social conclusions. There's a need of a harmonized set of KPIs for assessing the social impacts of pets. Again, there's a strong stressing on the life cycle perspective in order to check all these impacts that happen along the way of the supply chain, and the integration on social life cycle assessment, which is one of the most used tools for social assessment of systems, buildings, for example, to be integrated. And then from an economic perspective, there is a need to integrate different approaches, in our opinion, as well as point directly towards technology analysis and technology choices, a need for life cycle costing analysis, as well as give also to pets the possibility to have value, meaning from labeling or certification schemes, also from the economic side, from investors and citizens. Okay, I think that's it for me. I'm 20 seconds late, so I'd be happy to call the next presenter. I'm happy to reply to questions in the chat if there are any. But the next presenter is Jaume Salom from Iraq, and the title of his presentation is Sustainable Plus Energy Neighborhoods Evaluation Framework by the Sinikia Project. Jaume, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Francesco, for the introduction. I think you are able to see my screen and hear me perfectly.
Yes. I see you and I see the screen just fine.
Okay, perfect. Then I will present which is the evaluation framework that we have been developed in the Sustainable Plus Energy Neighborhoods in the Sinikia project. Just a very brief introduction about the Sinikia project. Our mission in Sinikia is to increase the share of sustainable neighborhoods with surplus renewable energy across Europe, testing in different contexts and climates. That in the 4 years of the project until 2024, Sinikia will pilot 4 real-life sustainable plus energy neighborhoods across Europe. Then what I will present today is the methodology that we will test into these 4 pilot sites. The Sinikia methodology is expansion for the concept of the plus energy buildings to the sustainable plus energy neighborhoods. Then when the main aspect is that we have a positive energy balance in our neighborhood. That means a group of interconnected buildings will produce more weighted energy than the ones that's needed to run and to import. That is the main aspect. Then we have our philosophy is to have in mind 5 impact areas. We call the 5D. One is the centralization. The other one is democracy, design, digitalization, and decarbonization. And with a strategic view that our neighborhoods in the future will be able to share energy, to shine, the concept of shine of taking into account to take profit of the solar resources and others renewable resources, to save energy also, of course, and to save also money, and also to scale the concept from the buildings itself to the neighborhoods. Then we developed this evaluation framework based on our definition of sustainable plus energy neighborhoods, with the aim is defined as a group of interconnected buildings with an associated infrastructure. We can be located in a confined geographical area or even in a virtual boundary. Then at the end of the day, the SPEN aims to reduce its primary energy use towards zero, adopted over a complete year, and increased use of production of renewable energy into the site. That is based on cost efficiency, a good indoor environment quality, and occupant satisfaction, and also taking into account social factors, all these factors that also Francesco has highlighted in the presentation, and also power performance factors. At the end, we have been developed a methodology in order to ensure these multidimensionality aspects that we have in neighborhoods and in cities in order to select a bunch of indicators. Then 5 categories of indicators has been defined into this methodology coming from this multidimensional analysis. Then we have defined indicators about energy and environmental aspects. We have the numbers which you see in brackets are the number of indicators related with each category. Economic indicators, indoor environmental quality indicators, social indicators. You see also the importance of these indicators in our framework, which is we have 14 indicators related with social aspects, and also aspects related with smartness and energy flexibility. Then that we can find in the documents that we have already produced is the definition of the key performance indicators. Also guidelines how to implement in design and operational phases of the project. I think we think that this is very important that we address the assessment frameworks and indicators that we will use now and in the future should be thought and useful both to address the assessment of neighborhoods, of positive energy districts, both in the design phase, but also in the operational phase of the projects. And also you will find also additional materials, surveys, checklists in the documentation that we have produced. Okay, that is a summary of the resulting framework. I will not, and the resulting numbers of indicators, I will now go one by one because we have a very brief in time, and I think it is better to have room for the detailed discussion afterwards. But as you can see here, we have energy and environmental performance. That means we have more an assessment about overall performance, also matching factors about the self-generation of self-consumption and interaction with the grid. Also the environmental balance based on the total greenhouse gas emissions in the neighborhood, and also some additional indicators about energy production on site or the impact of the electrical vehicle energy consumption. Also, we have a bunch of indicators related with economic performance, capital costs, and operational costs, and also assessment about the overall performance as the net present value or the payback period, as also has been mentioned by Francesco in his presentation. A set of indicators related with energy flexibility and smartness, also based also on already available methodologies as the smart readiness indicator produced by the EU. And some other aspects related with indoor environmental quality. We need neighborhoods, but also we need neighborhoods with a high quality of life and indoor environmental quality in our buildings and in the neighborhoods. And also, you see this green category is about the social performance, and then we have a set of indicators related with equity, trying to highlight also the community aspects and and aspects related with people itself, as the safety, energy conscientious, or aspects related with the health of the inhabitants in our neighborhoods. As I said, we'll be very brief, but also we have produced 2 documents that you are freely available and you can download in order to get the details. We have the complete methodology framework as a report from our Synekia project, and you can find in the Synekia website. And also there is recent publications making a good summary of the evaluation framework with the main aspects and main key performance indicators in this recent publication in Energies. Then you can have and download in order to get more details about the evaluation framework. That at the end of the day, this work is already done. We have tested this methodology in the design phase of our project, and it will be soon tested also in the operational phase of the project. Thank you. And thank you very much, and I will be very glad also to answer any detailed question on the chat, and I think it will be a great opportunity, this workshop, in order to have a great discussion about all these aspects. Thank you very much.
Great, Jaume, thanks a lot for your presentation. It was very informative. About the very last slide, I can suggest about the inputs and the papers and the outcomes. That's gonna be in the next session after 3, in the co-creation session, a sort of repository where we can put links useful for all participants. So maybe it could be a nice idea to put also those papers and the reports links there.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Great, thanks again, Jaume. I say we can go to Adriano Bisello then with an overview on the H2020 PED project's assessment approach. Adriano.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Francesco. Okay. I think you are looking at my screen now. Let me know if it works.
Yep, it works just fine.
Yes, it works.
Okay, perfect. So I will briefly give you an overview on H2020 PED project evaluation approach, as Francesco said. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm senior researcher and project manager at UREC Research, urban planner by background. And I am here together with let's say 3 different hats, because I'm co-leading the subtask C of the Annex 83, but I also have the pleasure to be included in the cost action on PED EUNET, and also being member of the Smart Cities and Communities Monitoring and Evaluation Working Group. So the first point that I would like to stress has been already recalled by Francesco Reda in the introduction speech. So PED projects, from our perspective, should be understood as urban interventions, not only aiming to provide new or retrofitted high-performance buildings and brand new energy infrastructure, but also urban projects aiming at social inclusion, increasing quality of life, valorization of local resources, and of course providing positive impacts on the environmental and economic side. This means that evaluation approaches should support complex decision-making processes, and therefore the integration of financial KPIs with environmental and socioeconomic criteria. It's needed, again, assuming a multi-stakeholder perspective. Which PED projects are we going to analyze in this exercise? given the fact that PRED projects are quite a lot around the world with different characteristics. We are now focusing on 6 specific projects related to European goals, the smart cities and community goals. Some of them started quite recently, while some others a few years ago, but in any case, they are all actually still running, so not yet completed or at halfway of the completion time. Where they are located, we have 12 lighthouse cities around Europe. You see that each one has 2 lighthouse cities where real interventions are going to take place with interventions on buildings and interventions on energy infrastructures. And here the nice point that I would like to stress quite in a provocative way is that if we look at the European map, we see that there is a half full of lighthouse cities and half empty. So we will need probably to better balance the showcase of the demo project in the next years and in the next calls. Which are the evaluation models that we expect to find in this project and we have to take into account to proceed in further investigation? So basically, talking about evaluation model, we have 3 different approaches. Ex ante evaluation, we try to forecast future impacts before the project takes place or to compare alternatives. We have in itinere approach to monitor the implementation phase and to check the compliance of impacts with objectives. And ex post evaluation to check real and detailed achievement and to check also if there have been some deviations from the initial design of the project. And then we have different methods based primarily on monetary terms, like cost-effective analysis, of cost-benefit analysis, method based on empirical measurements and achievement of project results, like multi-criteria, and also method based on disaggregation of the results, trying to recognize the complexity and multidimensionality of the situation, like the quite old planning balance sheet analysis and the community impact evaluation, and strategic environmental assessment, of course. So if we try to sum up everything in a single picture, we have these 4 quadrants ranging from monetary to non-monetary approaches and from qualitative to quantitative ones. So we have in each of the different quadrants some possible evaluation models. We decided to focus not on all of them, but to select just a few representing the different possible combination between monetary, non-monetary, and qualitative and quantitative. So we extracted a selected list of models, also adding the pestle, which is quite a prosecution of the SWOT analysis, and leaving some room to the investigation of other models. So the 6 projects have been directly inquired, taking contact with the responsible of monitoring and evaluation and the financial assessment of the project, thanks to a direct survey that has been started this summer. And so far we collected 5 out of 6 project answers. You see here in this chart the distribution of the different approaches. So there is, let's say, quite heterogeneity in the approach, and quite all the different approaches are represented, except from the planning balance sheet, but that was quite clear because it's not a very well known and exploited assessment tool. If we look more in detail these are draft results, so not yet completed, not yet double checked with the responsible people. When the results coming from the different projects, we see that, for example, cost benefit analysis has been mentioned only by one single project. On the contrary, life cycle cost and life cycle analysis are well exploited by different projects. Similarly, also we have multi-criteria analysis, which is very often mentioned. So these results are to some extent confirming what the analysis conducted so far in the annex has revealed to us. So what are the next steps? Of course, to double check and to complete the information collected so far. Then better investigated what could be other approaches to evaluation suggested by the different projects, and mapping the deliverables and the deadlines, because in some cases results are expected to come in the next years and to be reported in specific deliverables. And obviously to go more in detail in the investigation of the evaluation methods and assumptions related. Other steps then will follow. For example, better understanding if the assessment is related to the whole project or to single positive energy district demo case, and if the evaluation activities are approaching the three different steps, the forecast, in itinere, and ex post assessment, or are only related to some of them. So the final question to answer is, what is the purpose of the evaluation approach that each project is following? And are they also taking into account some externalities, what we call multiple inputs and multiple benefits that may arise in different time periods of the project? This is something to explore thanks to a strong collaboration and interaction with the project responsible and colleagues. So let me conclude with some acknowledgement to people involved in the design of the research and colleagues that shared some talks, and also to the responsible person that has been contacted and kindly answered to our research. To conclude, let me add some thoughts to the quotation that Francesco said in the beginning: measure what is measurable and make measurable what is not. Let me add, it is better to be vaguely right than exactly wrong. So I mean that this should be the purpose of every assessment exercise. So I really thank you for the opportunity to be here today with you, and looking forward to have a very nice interactive session soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you, Adriano. Thanks to you for your presentation and all the help. I mean, let me acknowledge you publicly for all the help you had, you gave us for the preparation of the workshop as well. Now, onto the quotes. I mean, you should have told me before you were preparing quotes, both you and Francesco, because I have none, so I feel a bit left out. But still, let's go on for the moment. And let's go on to Etminan Ghazal from the Austrian Institute of Technology.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
The title of her presentation is Review Methods in the Monitoring, Evaluation and Replication of PEDs and PEDs Labs. That is part of the ongoing work of the Cost Action PED EU net. So Etminan, the floor is yours.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Ghazal, and my first name is Ghazal, actually, and my surname is Etminan. I'm the senior research engineer in AIT. No, it's fine. And I'm representative of the work that it has done in the cost action regarding monitoring methods in the monitoring and evaluation and replication of PED and PED labs. And it was funny because when I was listening to Adriano, I was removing the slides because there was similar approaches happening. I didn't want to repeat it again, the same things that happening also in the cost action. So I already reduced it, but we go through the that's what we have done in this work package. Thanks actually to the colleagues that they were main contributor of this presentation, and because of the other commitment they were not able to participate today. The monitoring and evaluation plans have been prepared for PET project in order to measure and assess the project activities at both city and project levels, considering the indicator category defined by SKIS, city keys, and civic tests, and other kind of reference framework. The objective of almost all the project is to select a set of the performance indicator and data collection to proceed for the common and transparency monitoring, as well as the evaluation of the smart cities action across the cities. The project level evaluation of framework consists of the key performance indicators selected for evaluation of the action made in the demo area on the short and medium terms. The project level, the project that we have already considered, it was similar to Adriano. That's why I was removing the slides, and I'm just showing that what we have seen as a risk in the certain project that we have considered as a potential project and did our example and analysis. There was a usually limited number of KPI was used in all these 6 projects. They usually easily monitor impact that they usually monitor that the one which was easily KPI can be reported. When it was really complex, they tried to just ignore it, or they didn't have information regarding that. And there was uncertainty in the balance and in the baseline that they had provided already. What we have seen that there was some kind of KPI which is similar to all of these 6 lighthouse projects that we have selected, like the KPI for energy, that you can see that like energy consumption, primary energy saving, and it was all these 15 KPI was similar to all 6 lighthouse cities that we have evaluated. The other selected KPI in the mobility, we have chosen also the category like annual energy demand by charging infrastructure, relevant share and contribution of vehicle to grid, or number of EV charging point, or share of EV in the local transportation. The other KPI that we were selecting, it was environment, which was equal to all of them, was energy related to green gas emission, life cycle green gas emission, and water consumption on site, and other KPI that you are seeing in right now in the presentation. And regarding the economy, simple payback period, total investment, and total annual cost. And somehow in the case of positive, we found a new kind of KPI, which was really considering the local job creation or new business creation, or kind of in the making city case was energy poverty, and in the case of positive project, it was average of electricity price for companies and consumers. This was the outcome that we found it for the common KPIs, that it was selected among all 6 lighthouse projects, and then we consider also the social KPIs, which was looking through the different kind of a scale, like number of citizen and number of innovation lab and number of positive energy champion trained, and replication strategy, which was different. And as you see that we have mentioned already in the report that will be somehow online from next month, you can find out more detail about all of this KPI. I would say that thank you to all of the kind of project that also they contribute to the outcome of this presentation. And the reason that I didn't go more detail, because I was thinking it is repetition of the things that already Adriano has been mentioned. Thank you.
Okay, Ghazal, thanks. Really thanks a lot. That was also very informative. Again, as for Jaume, as I said to Jaume, if you wish, you can put links. You mentioned a report that's going to be out very soon. You can put links in the next co-creation page directly there for all of our for all of us to go into it. Okay, now time. Thanks again. Now it's time for Hans-Martin Neumann. And I know I'm going to share a screen for you. Hans-Martin? Is Hans-Martin online? I remember he was saying he had some connection issues. Let me check. Halasan, Monica Hall has. I don't see him, but maybe I'm wrong. Adriano, you can see him, maybe.
I see that it's not in the participants list actually.
So I guess he's having some connection issues. Then what we can do is probably for Abo and Adriano in the meantime, maybe we give him some time to connect back, but maybe you, Abo and Adriano, can explain this 5-10 minutes the exercise, so we get in advance. And then if Hans-Martin resolves his issues, we can get back to him. What do you think?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay.
So maybe Adriano, you can also put your camera on. But yeah, from my side, can you hear me properly, by the way?
Yes.
Good. So yeah, my name is Aapo Huovila from VTT, and I have been also in contact with you with regard to the organization of the workshop, and we are all organizers very happy that we have this big number of participants in the workshop, and really the pool of expertise is really impressive. So next we are going to have a co-creative session and that we have been waiting for. We know it's Friday afternoon, but that will be the opportunity for all the participants to share their thoughts then on the topics that have been discussed until now. So soon you will be okay. So Hans-Martin is there, so maybe.
Sorry for the
there you
delay.
are.
I hope it's
Okay.
still possible to present my slides. I was just
yes, it's possible.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you very much.
Okay. So sorry for this issue, but I guess we can go with the presentation of Hans-Martin and then go back to
Yes,
Adriano.
please.
Sorry again to everyone. Now let's go to the presentation of Hans-Martin. PowerPoint present. I guess it is this one, right? Yeah. I think so. Okay.
That's the last slide, but it's the right presentation.
Oh, okay. That's fine. There we go.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, well, I would say hello to you on behalf of Aerodrome Program Smart Cities. I know that several of you are already active in this group. We are, a network of European research organizations focused on the Aerodrome program, focused on working positive energy districts, focused on urban energy systems and everything that is important for urban decarbonization. And I had the pleasure to be for the last 4 years the deputy coordinator of this joint program. And what I'm now presenting to you is an outcome of a working group that we have set up already some years ago. I will just briefly introduce what it is about, and then I will also show you a case study that we have developed at AIT in cooperation with the Aerodrome program. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, very good. Thank you. So, ERA is internally, the Aerodrome Program Smart City is internally organized in mirror groups that mirror somehow, several European activities, such as the previous implementation group of the Set Plan Action 3.2. One of the that was the working group that prepared the PET initiative on the European level. And one of the topics identified there was the need for improved monitoring and KPIs for positive energy districts. And therefore, interested organizations from the Aerodrome program have teamed up in order to work on this, to discuss what is needed in this field. That was us, AIT, it also VTT, for example, was very actively engaged. Fraunhofer was very actively engaged in some other organizations. What I can present here is basically the state of our discussion. Next slide, please. So, the idea was to identify based on project outcomes from running research projects, in particular from the Smart City Lighthouse projects, and in discussions with the first PET projects that emerged at that time, the needs for new KPIs. And to align this also with other activities of the Aerodrome program that are more than, for example, on the level of tools, that are on the level of policy recommendations, that are on the level of technologies. Next slide, please. So it was really a collaborative approach, bringing together partners from different disciplines, from different teams. Next slide, please. What I would like to show you now in particular is one study on positive energy districts that we at AIT carried out in cooperation with this ERA initiative. It was, I would say, a case study for 4 urban areas in Vienna to assess the potential to become positive energy districts. And in this context, you also discussed how this ambition of creating PETs can be embedded into urban planning processes, and how system boundaries can be set. How, based on this, then the monitoring and evaluation can be carried out. Next slide, please. I think this we can leave out. Next slide, please. Let's keep it shorter. ERA has actually, as part of the activities that I described before, developed a definition. It's the own definitions of positive energy districts. And it reads, PETs are mixed-use energy-efficient districts that have net zero carbon dioxide emissions and actively manage an annual local surplus production of renewable energy. They require interaction and integration between buildings, the users of the regional energy system, mobility, and ICT systems, while ensuring social, economic, and environmental sustainability of current and future generations. I think that shows that, we have, of course, energy system aspects, but we also have other aspects that from our point of view are important. So this relies to the connection to mobility and ICT systems that we also have in the Smart City Lighthouse projects. And we also have the, I would say the socioeconomic, and the stakeholder engagement. Next slide, please. I think this we can also skip. We then had a discussion on system boundaries, which is nicely summarized then in the following slide, I think. Exactly. ERA came then up basically with 4 preliminary definitions, because we found out actually a PET can be many things. There's different understandings, reaching from something like a candidate PET, a neighborhood that doesn't have a positive yearly energy balance, but that covers basically the delta between the demand and the local generation with purchasing green energy from the grid. This is of course the easiest way how to do it. Going through different steps to the AutoPAD, which would be an energy autonomous district. Next slide, please. And at AIT, we also conceptually, brought it then a bit further even, and we thought, okay, you could conceptualize this as a kind of a matrix. No? On one axis, you have the different steps of the PET development. This is the ambition level. This is here the x-axis. Now the y-axis, you could maybe then include the dimensions that you want to include. No, you could start from the operational, covering the operational energy, and then could then gradually also include IT, mobility, even gray energy. And in the long run, you could also think about to what extent food supply can be covered here. Next slide, please. We, as case studies, we used 4 urban areas in Vienna, detached housing from the recent years, from the 1960s to 80s, medium dense housing, this is social housing, and dense inner city area. And at the beginning, we thought, okay, we could maybe test all the 4 different concepts for PETs in these areas. In the end, as time and budget was constrained, we focused actually on the operational energy. Next slide, please. We used an in-house tool, the code Mapit. I don't need to go into details. You can also find this in the publication we wrote. Next slide, please. And we assessed basically, well, the self-supply rate that can be generated by using local renewable energy sources. Next slide, please. In the end, we came to the conclusion, we looked at different supply options and, of course, in efficiency scenarios well, actually, interestingly, the detached housing from the 1960s to 80s was the one that could most easily reach the standards because it was a matter of density, I would say, while denser areas were struggling more, even though they might be more energy efficient. That's, of course, something like a snapshot of very specific local conditions. Might want to, of course, could discuss it in a broader level, maybe also include my innovative technologies, but this is what came out of our analysis in Vienna. Next slide, please. We then also discussed the planning steps that are necessary, and that leads for existing neighborhoods as well as for new neighborhoods. And that led us then actually in the next slide to also, well, back to the topic of evaluation and monitoring. And we believe that actually there's, I would say, 3 dimensions that need to be included. This is the energy performance of the neighborhood. This is the spatial framework conditions that are very important context factors, and that's the quality of the urban planning that you will take into account. When we talk about the energy performance, I think this is then there also where you could work on the ambition level. Now you could start at the lowest level with the operational energy, and at the next step you could also include gray energy and mobility and other dimensions, which is shown here on the upper right corner. Next slide, please. So to conclude, well, I think we are all aware that pets are still in an initial stage of the development. Still, the concept is being shaped, although we're making big progress thanks to all the major initiatives in the member states of the EU and associated countries taking place. We do believe that this is certainly necessary to accompany this with, I would say, ancillary research, with providing new indicator systems for ex ante as well as for ex post evaluation of the districts. And we do hope that this will be also taken up in the mission programs that are ongoing. First step, I think, is the Net Zero Cities project that we were just happy to kick off this week, where we are also responsible as AIT for the monitoring evaluation of the city level. But I think certain dimensions can be also, or certain learnings can be then also, well, fed into this from our PET discussion, and vice versa. We will bring in aspects of Net Zero City discussion to the PET level. And with this, I would like to conclude. Thank you very much for your attention. And again, I'm very sorry for the delay. I do hope that there's enough time for the workshop now. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks a lot also for your presentation. And I think we are nearly perfectly in time, so don't worry about the issues before. And I think we can now go back again to Adriano and Dapo, who can explain to us what's going to happen in the co-creation on PED evaluation methods we have talked before about.
Yeah. So once again, is there an echo?
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, I heard myself. Okay, yeah, once again, so really happy to see you all here, and now you will have the opportunity to share your own thoughts on the topic that has been discussed until now. You should have received an email today from HowSpace and with my name, Aapo Huovila, in order to access the co-creative space called HowSpace. If you haven't received such an email, please send me your email or put it in the meeting chat, so we will add you right now. But soon you will be divided in 6 different groups, and you will each group has more or less 15 people and 1 chair who will guide you with tasks that will be done. So HowSpace is a platform. Then you have some questions to answer each of you separately, and then you will discuss them within the group. We will have more or less 35 minutes for this part of the workshop, and after that we will return to the plenary session here, and each group will shortly summarize in 2 minutes like the most interesting points from their discussions to the others. So, Adriano, what else would you like to mention now?
Yeah, thank you, Apo. Maybe we can show the HowSpace main page where we all together can test the system.
Sure.
I can share my screen if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Okay, this is the HowSpace. Oh, sorry. I was waiting the computer to show something. Okay. This is the HowSpace, so it's an internet page. You can try to interact with the system with these two warm-up questions that we prepared to let you be in touch with this new tool. You can simply put here your mood and your country, and you will see that the results will appear on real time. So there is a constant update of the system. More or less the same approach will follow us in the different discussion groups. You will be invited to answer a brief list of questions. Thanks also to the assistance of the moderators. And you will have also the possibility to put a like or some comments to answers provided by other colleagues, and this will help us in having a quite interactive and fresh discussion together.
Thank you, Adriano. And then next I will split you in 6 groups, and then the group chair moderator will guide you after that. So you will start from this welcome page. You can test that the tool works, and then after that, please move to the in the navigation pane to the section of your group number. So in Teams, your group will have a number, and it's then moved to the same number, group number in the navigation pane in HowSpace as well. So
just a remark, if I can, Abo.
Sure.
When I think that once the time is over, we'll go back right directly to the main room, right? Just to clarify to all the participants.
Yeah, so please leave me to automatically move you to groups, because if you try to do it yourself, it could create some issue. But I will stay here in the plenary session anyway, in case someone doesn't end up in a group. And then, as Francesco told, so now it's 4:15 in Finnish time. So 10 to 4 Central European time, you will be automatically moved to back here. So I will try to send you a reminder there, but that's what will happen automatically. So then we will continue in the plenary session with the discussion. So thank you, and have a good co-creation session.
Thank you very much, Apo.
There are so many that it takes a couple of seconds to put people in groups.
I don't understand what's going on.
I hear it's coming from Switzerland.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, Gianluca. So for some reason,
I don't know where I am.
okay, no worries. We'll try to find because I was just moving people to the different working groups. We have
okay.
different groups. For some reason, probably you were not on the list. And I see also other people here in the main session. Let's check if there are others in a similar situation with you. Yeah, there are quite. Please hold a moment, Gianluca. I will try to check.
Don't worry about it.
Others are having the same issue. Yeah. Did you join the meeting since the beginning of or just now?
No, just now. I couldn't do it before.
Okay, so then I need to find out how to add you in the group. In any case, first of all, we need your email address. If you could put it in the meeting chat, because we are using a tool where we have a couple of questions.
I thought I registered, but
so have you received an email today from Housepace?
No, not today. I got an email a couple of days ago with the registration, and I didn't understand at the beginning what it was because it wasn't explained that it was the IEA, and then so I got a little confused. But I thought I registered. But anyway, this is my email. I'll give it to you. Did you get it? I sent the email.
Yeah.
And I put it in the chat. Okay. Let me see the program here.
So thanks.
Because I'm in New York City, so I see. Let's see now. Oh, so I missed a lot of it because I had another meeting at the same time. Ugh. I missed the. Anyway, I can't do the co-creation, I guess, without knowing what you guys discussed. But I'm happy to do. But let me tell you, if you are trying to put me somewhere, so I can give you a little bit like quick. I work for the largest public housing authority in the United States. So New York City Housing Authority, and I'm here because I'm working on energy transition, and so upgrading our heat architecture. We have 2,300 buildings, actually even more, and with 500,000 people living, 178,000 apartments. So it's really big. And we still have we have a lot of work to do because it's very inefficient, and heat takes 75% of all energy.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at thermal energy networks, how to basically approach that, and the architecture that way. So that's the.
Yeah, that sounds very, very well fitting the topic of workshop and the co-creation. And in any case, all the groups are doing the same thing. Now I think I found out how I can add you there. So did you receive? So you found the email from Housepace, right?
No, I never got that.
Okay.
I don't see it.
Then I misunderstood you. So
it's
okay.
No, I never. So it's called House Space, one word.
Today you should have received an email.
No, then I'm sure nothing. Today there's since this morning, and I mean last night, overnight too. I don't have it.
Okay, so I'm just adding you then right now.
A lot of Italians in this group.
Sorry. Hanna-Maja, are you here in the main room?
Yes, Aapo, and I see that you are already, Gianluca, you are already added to the system, so you should have received the email.
But yesterday?
Today,
today?
Yes, a
Today
couple of hours ago.
So it means probably night time for you if you are in New York.
Let me see, night. Oh, I see it now. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's
it was
in
night
red.
time.
No worries.
Yeah. So
no, but this is from yesterday though. No, I got the email. I got the email yesterday, Thursday.
Okay,
Today I got nothing. So
probably the time difference. But in any case, that link that you have in that email, when you click it, you can then go to the co-creation space where
but
we have.
you have to. It's a Teams link though. Is that the one?
No. House space.
No, and it's not. Then I haven't had it. I don't have it. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, then let's put.
I have an email for Apple only. That's again, it's from yesterday, so it's like 9 a.m. here, so it's 3 a.m. Thursday in Europe.
So
I don't have it. Sorry.
In the chat, please try this link that is in the meeting chat.
Sure.
And see if you can access that way, because the system is saying that you have already been added there, but.
Okay. All right, it's opening. Copy link. Hold on. Okay, I think it's opening. Enter your email. Okay. I got it. And I have to, so they're sending me the link now because I had to put my email there. All right, let's see. Not in yet. How's come on. It's not coming. Oh, God. It might take a while before the email reaches your inbox. Yeah, I mean, guys. Oh, God. Okay. This is the spam. Junk email. No. Guys, I didn't get anything. I'm sorry. So it's not in my inbox. The link is not there yet, so it's okay.
So I can see Pedro Pimenta here as well.
Yes.
So
hello.
Are you having some kind of similar issue that you are not in a group?
I'm not in the group.
Yeah, because I don't know.
I'm in group 2.
Okay, then fine. Sorry about that.
No problem. Absolutely no problem.
Okay, but then for you, Gianluca, you click that web page and then.
I did. I asked you to put your email address, and I put it, and then I'm supposed to receive the login link, which is not here yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not in my junk.
Yeah.
Let me try. Okay, I'll try with another email address. Okay, because it may be that it's just that we have a lot of filters here. Let me try with my email address, with my personal address. So maybe it's gonna work. So let's see. All right. Let me put this one.
It seems that it has worked for the others, or at least most of them. So I don't know.
They can't find me with their email address. You want to use? You have to add me with my other email address. Can you add me with this email address? It's my private address, and so I'll try with that. Because
Sure.
I believe it's being filtered. Takes a while sometimes, depending on where it comes from.
Hanna, may I do that?
Yes, I am doing it right now.
So okay, worked. So let me see. I should have received it in my personal email inbox. Because that's more open. There it is. I got it. See, so it's my authority. I see. Welcome to house space. That's how. Or my question. Or my question. Which country join the workshop? Shall I write the stuff?
Yeah, and then I can assign you to one of the groups. So in the next to the navigation pane, you see there are group numbers. So I can put you, for example, in group number 1.
Okay.
So then you have specific questions there.
Research. What's the difference between the groups?
Actually, they are doing the same thing. So
it's just that they have less people. I got it. Okay, fine. So I'll do it. Group. You said group 2.
Group 1, for example.
Oh, group 1. I'll do group 1. Okay, let's do it.
I will try to put you also in the discussion with that group.
Okay.
So the breakout room. Just a moment.
Do I need to answer all these questions?
Well, I think it's like you have only probably.
Oh, it's only 3 or 4. It's only 4.
20 minutes left. So just answer those if you have time to answer and
yeah. Okay.
Fine.
Question 4. The lamp is the selector answers below. Why? Okay. Please provide examples. I don't know. I can't answer really. I just. Okay, I think. Oh, I have a ton of questions still. Fuck. Okay, question 6. I don't know, man. Question 7. No, I don't. No.
Don't worry,
okay.
Gianluca. Yeah, I think it's better. I couldn't anymore add you to that discussion, but in any case, they will come back back soon to the plenary session, and then.
So I'm not in that group.
You can answer there the questions.
Okay, but I don't understand how the group works. I don't see the other people, or just all about. This is the way you interact.
No, there was also voice through Teams, but I already split people in groups probably earlier that you came. So for some reason, I cannot see you anymore. I cannot. Okay. I'm sorry
because
about
I'm under a different. email address. So on Teams, I'm connected with my Nitro address, and on Housewell, I'm connected with my personal address. That's why. So what I can do again, I can leave this and come in with my personal, but I don't know.
Don't worry. Don't worry
no.
about that.
Okay.
Some reason I cannot. For some reason I cannot add you there in the group anymore.
Okay.
Just trying to.
It's fine.
Let's Gianluca, but why is it that I cannot add you there? Okay. Now I found, so I will try to add you now in the group one, also in the for the voice. Okay.
Shank, thank you.
Just a couple of seconds. I hope. Wait. Hold on.
Rian, can you hear me now again?
Yep, we are back in the main room.
Yeah.
Hello, Apple.
Hello, Adrian. How did it go?
Very good.
Good. Let's wait for everybody to join back the plenary session.
Perfect. In the meanwhile, did you found someone lost between the different groups, or?
There was one person who joined later and could be added to the room only in the middle, but then I also saw one person here who was probably only contributing to house space, but not with the voice. But it seems to me that only your group has come back until now to the plenary session. So let's wait 1 minute and then I will close all the rooms.
Yes, perfect. I see 109 answers in the warm-up page, so we had a lot of participants today.
That's great. So I will now close the other rooms as other groups as well in order to join the plenary session. Hello, Jaume.
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, was very interesting.
Now I'm back.
Nice to see you back here.
Oh, I didn't manage to say thanks to all of the participants in my session. So thanks to everyone for the very productive session.
Thank you so much.
I was about to. I didn't manage though.
So great to have you all back here now. Next, let's check that all the chairs are back. So I see Andreas from group 1. You are there already. Then, to my understanding, Adrian was in group 2. It's also back. Francesco from group 3. Caroline Cheng. Are you also back to the plenary session now?
Yes, I'm back.
Great. And then Jaume, I already saw from group 6 and Mari from group 5. Are you there as well? Mari, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great, because people were coming a bit time. Yeah, good. Now next, we are a bit running out of time, but the idea is that the group chairs will share 2 key points from their discussions to the other groups, and of course we will summarize the findings that you have. Well, the information that you have added to house space afterwards, and we will share with you the summary also. But now we will very shortly summarize in 2 minutes some of the most interesting points from the discussion in different groups. So first, Andreas Türk, it's your turn with group 1.
Yeah, I'm happy to brief you on what we discussed. We had a very interesting discussion about indicators, whether we should have one comprehensive indicator or separate indicators. The group was split, and Some said it's not possible to integrate economic, environmental, social dimensions into one indicator, but an idea that came up that you can at least synthesize the energy performance and energy-related part into one indicator, and maybe not everything, so partially aggregate indicators. Another important point was that we may need new indicators for the social aspects, because normally social impacts are impacts such as impacts on labor, jobs, welfare, but here we're speaking about communities. We speak about social cohesion, about interaction. So pets will stimulate a complete new dimension of social interaction and social impacts that have not yet been very well reflected in existing indicators. I think some additional key takeaways from group 1 was pets have so many benefits on local policies, greenhouse gas emissions, job, social cohesion, energy poverty, equality. So the group concluded that we need pets towards a positive future. This was a little recap.
Great, thanks a lot, Andreas. And next, let's hear from group 2 and Adriano Bisello, what you discussed there with your group.
Yep, thank you. It was very nice discussion in group 2. We were mainly representing research and academia side perspective. The main point, the main agreement was about the need of having this synthetic index to sum up the key performance and the key impacts of the PED, and the best way considered to approach the topic is to adapt some existing index and rating system in comparison to developing something from scratch. We discussed also about the different weights of the 3 key pillars: environment, economy, and society. Let's say that overall the 3 were rated as high relevant, so there were no specific rank among the three elements. Also, the list of indicators were quite extensive, and we will sum up that after the meeting. The value proposition exercise deserved interesting results, as a positive energy district as a landscape changer, or positive energy district as a way to act locally and think globally. A new paradigm for more sustainable and autonomous energy system. We also collected some interesting references to existing studies and systems to rate and to assess positive energy district. So I would like to thank again participants for the effort and the commitment in completing the questionnaire.
Thanks a lot, Adrian. Sounds also very interesting. So curious to see then afterwards the more detailed findings. Next, Francesco Guarino, group 3.
Yes, we were group 3. So let's go through the questions super fast. On question 1, which sector do you represented? Yeah, we were all basically researchers or academics, so we reflect that perspective. On to the synthetic index, we had a large discussion here, meaning that it was more or less a no, with some distinctions to be made, meaning that, okay, for all the complexity we have been talking about for an hour before, it should be a no, but the idea is that for some specific applications, like for certifications, labeling, and so on, it could make sense. while we were also discussing about this should be growth-based, and probably, as I mentioned, a single indicator may not go and may not touch all the stakeholder needs. Then question 3 about the rating systems. About the rating systems, we pretty much were into the elaboration of new one. We thought that the elaboration of new one would be better, but not reinventing the wheel. Okay, meaning that if there's something that is already done and there is something that we could use, we could for sure use this some parts of what is already available. But there's need for elaboration of very least some parts of new frameworks. Then about environmental, economics, and society, we basically get all high relevance and extremely high relevance for all the 3 spheres. And that is because, as I remember, we talked about, and I took some notes here, we tend to focus much more on energy than we could in terms of integrating other spheres, for example, about society, environment, and economics. It was said that we need to find a sort of integration between the 3 pillars of sustainability and find an intersection between the 3, so be somewhere in between, basically. Then on to question 5, that is the most relevant impacts of our environment, economic, and society. We had a very long list here, so I won't go into all the details, but there's some specific inputs, meaning, for example, energy return on energy invested could be more beneficial. We should go a bit more into greenhouse gases, meaning and not only greenhouse gases, but also other environmental categories of impact. And then, okay. And then we have several also inputs for the last question, that is links and materials and projects and so on, that we will share with all of you later, next days. And about the proposition for PET values, we have quite a few, meaning that, for example, we should focus on urban and energy transition, localized European energy transition, have environmental friendly, affordable and environmental districts, and as well as referring to PETs as future-proof district. And that I think sums it up for what we had discussed within Group 3.
Thank you very much, Francesco and Group 3. Next we have Caroline Cheng from Group 4.
Yes, 2 key takeaway messages from our group discussion in Group 4. So I'll focus on what are the most relevant impacts to be included in the PET evaluation criteria. Here, I think the environmental dimension clearly stands out with emissions reduction, but the group also, of course, saying that the other perspectives are important because they're interconnected. So this points to the importance of an integrated approach, and also seeming to suggest that we need to find maybe not down to one single indicator, but we need to find a concise way to communicate the positive impacts of PETs in a simple enough, easy to digest way to the municipalities. And the other key message, what is the key message to summarize to a local politician, investor or citizen why they should be interested to support a PET project? Here, I think one distillation is that we should not focus on PET itself as an end, but rather the PET process. And the process itself, the PET development process, has a lot of benefits, such as increasing the awareness of citizens for environmentally friendly behavior. And also it creates, it nurtures an innovation ecosystem, it creates networks. So more on the PET as a process itself, a means rather than an end in itself. So these are the 2 takeaway messages from Group 4.
Thank you so much, Caroline and Group 4. Next, we have Mari Hukkanen from Group 5.
Hello, yes. In our group, we had a pleasure to have, in addition to researchers and academia, we also had 2 people from the municipalities and 2 public organizations and 1 from business sector. So I think that was really nice to have. And in the related to the examples of the most important KPIs or impacts that we were discussing and what were listed were, for example, the energy autonomy of a district. So not only focusing on the like how much energy is produced on site, but when it is produced and how much is actually exported outside of the area, and how high is the autonomy of the energy used in the district. Then the other thing I would like to highlight from our group discussion specifically was for the question number 6. So what should we tell, or how should we communicate the BED value proposition towards citizens or investors? So almost half of our group responded there that better quality of life to reduce energy consumption and the costs. And then the other one that was raised here and discussed was the fact that how it can increase the awareness of the new energy solutions in society and residents. That's quickly us.
Thank you so much, Mari. And last but not least, we have group 6 and Jaume Salom.
Hi, I think it was a very interesting exercise, and also we missed some time in order to go deep on the discussions, but I can highlight 3 topics in our discussion. First is about the issue of having one KPI or having several ones in order to describe which is assess pets, and I think, well, most of us were about that it is useful to have several dimensions and several KPIs in order to get this, to catch these multidimensional aspects, but also we have some interesting discussion about that. And I think it is one topic that I think also heard from the other groups also has raised a lot of discussion. But in the sense of adapting existing methodologies or having new ones, the answer was completely split, half and half. And also, this probably we will need more time in order to go in depth on that aspect. But that is the results we had in our team, in our group. The other aspect is about which aspects has been considered relevance, and both economy and social aspects are considered very relevant, but the one which is being considered extremely relevant is the one related with energy and environmental aspects and CO2 emissions. And then according to that answers also the last questions about which is the value proposition and which is the indicators to highlight the most aspects to highlight the related to value proposition is also related with having a clean environment and having a transformation of the pets that can help to mitigate climate change impacts. Yeah. That is more or less also a quick summary of our group discussions.
Thanks a lot, Jaume, on Group 6. And thanks a lot for all the group chairs also for summarizing in this short time some of the points from your discussion. So, Francesco, next, I guess it's time to start.
Yes, I think that summarizing, we've had a very nice run for this workshop. We've had the first hour of presentations. I think we have laid out what is the current situation for PED assessment, either in terms of KPIs, of performance assessment, methodologies, And we have gone into the details of what we're actually doing, besides either from a research perspective as well as from a practical point of view. I mean, going through our experiences with projects, H2020 projects, and so on. Also, the exercise we had now, I think we got some directions that were very interesting, either from where we go from now on, either from the perspective of which kind of KPIs to use and how to present PED's value, either the discussion we had, for example, on the single indicator versus the multiple indicators and several KPIs that Jama was talking about like a second ago, or the issue of the environmental as well as social as well as economics, somehow co-creation and creation of joint indicators to achieve a true PED and interdisciplinary, let's call it this way, assessment of the performances of PED. And I think all the outcomes we found could be very useful in the future and for the next stages of all of our work. So more practically, I believe I already said to Group 3 this. What we want to do is to create a sort of documents collecting what we have exchanged in the past hours, in the couple of hours we have left, including all the notes we have taken from you, in order to have a shared idea from which to start and go on. But before we close it up, and I'll send the floor back to Adriano and the app if they want to add anything, let me thank all the speakers who made really great presentations, all the chairs, including ourselves, as well as Caroline, Andreas, Jaume, Mari, and Adriano as well. And the core team, that is me, Adriano, and Apo, who have worked a lot on the preparation of this workshop, as well as Anna Maria and the BTT team that worked a lot also on the technical things. Okay. So Apo, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, just very shortly.
Adriano?
Thanks a lot for all the participants. All this information that has been added to HousePED is really valuable. We can extract it from there, and as said, we will prepare a summary and share it with the participants afterwards. There was a question 7 to add any references you think could be interesting related to these topics. You can still add there anything if you want. And then we have been also preparing a special issue in the journal Smart Cities around the topics that were discussed today. So we will launch it very soon and then send submission information and the more detailed information at the same time as we are sharing the summary from today's findings. So all the speakers and the related initiatives that were presented in the presentations and all the participants, you are then very welcome to contribute to that special issue in the journal. There is also another workshop that will come much later. Maybe Adriano can tell a couple of words. Was it in August 2022 or September?
Yeah, thank you, Apo. First of all, let me thank again for the commitment and the resilience in Friday afternoon, all the participants to this meeting. We will go ahead, obviously, with the activities related to PED in the different discussion groups. And the idea is also to have a physical meeting in late July in Bolzano, in Italy, at the conference about smart and sustainable planning for cities and regions. The agenda will come in the next period, but there is the call for special sessions and for side events already open. I invite you to check the website and to support us in the development of all positive energy district related activities. So thank you very much.
Adriano, maybe drop a link in the chat. Oh, you already did. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and that special issue in the journal, scientific journal that I mentioned, it will be kept open for 1 year, so those contributing to the other conference can contribute to the special issue as well, as it's on a similar topic. I'm representing here today the task group that is collaborating on monitoring and evaluation issues of EU smart cities and communities projects, and we had also this task to provide policy recommendations on PED evaluation methods. That's a work we will continue also, and this workshop was also very valuable for that purpose.
Great then. So thanks again to everyone, all participants, and all of you. And I hope to meet you physically very soon. Okay? Maybe Bolzano.
Thank you to you, Francesco.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice weekend.
Bye.
Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Nice weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.